Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at a 18 Priory that I caught on stream. This was
Five,
the first time that I was able
four,
to
three,
time this dungeon
two,
on an 18, so I was
one.
pretty
The
happy about
expedition
it.
built the Priory as a place to
I do these VOD
contemplate the
reviews as a way for
mysteries of
me to learn how
Mordor.
to make my play better, and then hopefully you guys can learn something too. So as we
But
go into
of
the first
late,
pull, I
the
like to target the
devotees have
knight so I
become
know who the
secretive,
first impale cast is going to go on.
hostile.
There's a lot of people that can remove bleeds and stuff like that, but I like to try and
The
get
gods
a
sought to kill
regrowth
you,
and maybe a life bloom onto
though
him
Captain
first.
Dale cries, protect
As we
my
pull the
father.
first mini boss, I position myself over here by this like sort of candle
Until
brazier
his
thing.
lieutenants
You
bolster
can use
his
it to line of
tactics.
sight both the shout
Draw them away
and
and
the
defeat them.
thunderclap. So it's like super important to try and do that to minimize the damage that's going on to yourself, and to not get stop casted. So I should be spreading my hots, or sorry, spreading my dots about. One of the things that I've noticed in watching my playback is there's a lot of downtime where I could be spreading rakes, and that's going to be really important in terms of getting out my bursting growths for DPS. But in the moment, I'm kind of super focused on just not messing up my mechanics, not letting people die. So, like right out there, I got behind the AoE. I had tons of time before I needed to do anything. It's a lot of dead time. Another thing that I'm noticing that I haven't done is I haven't pushed my Nature's Vigil. I should do that at the start of the pull. There's plenty of damage that goes out, and there's no reason to not get that on cooldown. That's one of the things that I've identified as like something to improve on when I'm watching the VODs back is manually using it. Normally I tie it to a Nature Swiftness macro that I have prior to Convoke, but I don't use my Convoke until a little bit later into the pull here, so. Yeah, see, I'm running away from the Thunderclap with 3-4 seconds left, so there's a lot of DPS uptime I could have got.
Your training
I
grounds
don't
follow the
know which
intruders.
way they're gonna pull. I think he pulls the mobs up top and brings them back down. So I think we're just gonna chill here for a little bit. For the next mini boss, there's nothing really to do other than swap your life blooms to the people with the lunging strike as needed. Watching this back, one of the things that I did notice is, much like with the Thunderclap, I'm running away from the lunging strike way too early. There's a lot of DPS uptime I could have had. So it looks like the Shaman got tagged by it, so we put our hots on him. It's gonna be one of the few times you'll see me use rejuvenation on people. Um, it's a good time to use your Swift Mend rejuve.
I'm out of range.
Other than that, we did pull a priest with us, so that's a good target for us to try and use our kick. Make sure that you're using your incap on the defend casts. Um, when you successfully interrupt the defend, not only does it stop sort of like the damage reduction aura that they're doing, but it gives them a damage amp. So it's good to make sure that you get that going on the team. Other things I could be doing too, it doesn't look like... Yeah, I may have used my Ursul's Vortex once. It's a good thing to drop your Ursul's Vortex to keep the casters, or not the casters, the archer type mobs from jumping out. The guys that do like the shoot and pot shot. So as the mobs start dying here and you're gonna move up, if you're doing a route that doesn't include pulling the dogs, which I don't think we are, you can actually root the human in the pack to give your team like a better pathing route, or like more time to freely cross. So I think I do that in this run. Yeah, as he's walking across, I target the person with him and root him, and you can see there it stops him without pulling aggro. One thing that you want to note if you are doing that is you have to make sure that you target the lead mob of that pack. Otherwise, what will happen is the pat will continue to path forward and you'll leave one mob behind, making it like you're putting yourself in a worse situation. So as we pull the next Night Pack, I sent my Lumathar because I saw the team taking a little bit of extra damage. It was a little bit earlier than I want, but it's not the end of the world. There's not a ton of damage that was going out. And it looks like I was targeted by the Knight for the Impale. So, on my screen, I have a weak aura that shows up. Otherwise, you can sort of target the Knight and see who he's casting the Impale on. But one of the things you can do with the Impale is you can Shadow Meld it before he casts it, and he won't recast it. So as long as you get him to drop the cast, then that's like a great way to avoid that mechanic and have, you know, just minimal damage going out. If a party member is tagged with the Impale, that's a good time to send your Iron Bark to help protect them for the overlapping shout. Similarly with the dogs, you can root that pack, but I don't know who the lead is, so I didn't want to try and do something fancy and kind of mess up. For the Forge Master, this guy hurts. So I kind of rotate my cooldowns as if I'm doing a boss fight. So if I have Lumathars up, I'll do Lumathars first, Convoke second, Trank third, Convoke fourth, Lumathars fifth. I think I show my talents at the end, but I do run the cooldown reduction in the one where Tranquility gives you a cooldown reduction of all of your other abilities. Other than that, there's not too much going in here. Try to make sure that you're in-capping or typhooning the defends as they come out. This is another example where I could have been doing a bit more damage to help out. That being said, I get really nervous about accidentally standing in a swirly there, so I almost always play that one super defensive. There's a lot of time where you're going to have to just stand there and hardcast stuff. I think with this mini-boss, we're also going to be pulling a Knight from behind. The reason why he's tanked over here is you can use this side of the wall to line of sight both the Impale and the Stopcast Shout. So I thought I got rid of that. I'm probably going to send my Trinket. Yeah, send my Trinket. This would have been another great time for me to use Nature's Vigil, so I need to start doing that manually. So I do have time here. I could have been putting out some dots on the group, but that's alright. Dispel the Pally instant. Yep. Duck behind, line of sight. Good. I'm gonna send a Convoke here. Ooh. I wasn't paying attention to the stop cast time, so I did get locked out of there, so that's really unfortunate. Looks like I tried to do it in the last second and didn't quite make it. I'm probably going to send my Bark. Pally's dry. Hopefully I do. He probably would be okay without it, since we're at the end of the fight, but... Cool. Now we go into the first boss. The main thing about this boss is just setting up your kick rotation ahead of going into the fight. So I think for us, the plan was going to be Paladin, Death Knight, Shaman, me as a backup with a mage on the battle shout. Aside from your kick rotation, there's not a ton of damage going out aside from the earth-shattering spears, so you have a lot of time to be able to heal that up. I run 2 charges of Nature Swiftness, so between a Nature Swiftness regrowth and Swift Mend, I have a lot of options. For instant healing. The one comment that I do make on this boss is as Dalecry, is that his name? Yeah, as Dalecry gets low in health, try to be mindful of saving as many cooldowns as you can for the next pull, because the next pull is the Paladin room, which, I mean, we'll talk about when we get there. Yeah, one thing that I'm noticing on my play, I'm putting some extra dots on the Fire Mage, which I really don't need to be doing. It's not adding any value. That rip should have been on Dalecry. I have a bad habit of keeping the mage targeted, just so I know who he's casting on in case I feel like I need to use some sort of external. But because of that, it causes me to use a little bit of DPS that is lost and not necessarily, it's just pad. That being said, my personal damage isn't that much in the grand scheme of things in terms of the total group contribution, so it's a misplay, but it's not that big of a misplay. But it's the type of thing where pushing into the 20 range, you want to tighten up.
Lieutenant, eliminate these vermin!
Yeah, I think we managed to go through without having any missed kicks. That's a pretty good run. Yeah, it was a little bit extra. Didn't really need to use my kick, unnecessary overlap, but that's okay. One thing that I like to do when I'm in this group, like if I'm assigned to be the third kick, I always try to put my kick on cooldown as soon as the cast starts. It feels to me, at least, that DPS like to interrupt at least halfway through or towards the end of the cast. It gives them a chance to, finish up doing whatever they were doing or squeeze in an extra global in whatever window they're in at the time. So I feel like when it's up to me, getting my cooldown at the very start of the cast really helps minimize overlaps.
Show them the power of the flame! Feel Ember's wrath!
Yeah, it's like I used to charge a Nature Swiftness there. When I'm watching this back, I was thinking about whether or not I would have convoked, but I didn't need to, which is good because we have the Paladin room. Cool. Alright, first boss is dead. Now we go into the Paladin room. One thing you can do is talk to your tank ahead of time to see if they want Ironbark going into the pool. That's tank specific, so it's up to them. I think this tank wanted it, yeah. But yeah, so this is the hardest room in the entire season, in my opinion, in terms of healing. And it's all about your cooldown rotation. So as the timers tick down, what I want to make sure I do is I want to Bark Skin right away, and then I'm going to Nature Swiftness into Convoke. Actually, sorry, I do my Trinket first, and then for the second settle, Nature Swiftness Convoke. Yeah. Okay, so Trinket the first one. Okay. Nature Swiftness, Convoke the second one. Ideally, I would innervate myself too before the next one comes out. And then coming in for this next set, my thought is that I want to Tranquility, but I don't need to. We have AMZ, and we're going to have Barrier at some point. I just don't know when the mage is going to use it. Yeah, I'm probably going to Trinket, yeah. So I Trinket here, which is good because it's going to cover us through the Convoke, or sorry, through the Toll, and it resets all of our cooldowns. One thing that you want to be pretty vigilant about is that you have Renewal and a health potion for yourself that's off the GCD. So you can use that while you're deciding to triage heal whoever in your party needs help. Probably gonna... Alright, so we have our trinket coming back up. We can use that for the next one if we want. But there's only one paladin alive right now. I tend to try and not send anything if there's one paladin with no casters. So we pulled 2 more. I'm probably gonna trinket. Yep. And then the next ones are coming out. I'll probably convoke it. Being mindful of your bark skin. My bark skin's coming off cooldown, so for the next set I should use that. But like I said, it's all about rotating everything. Keeping all of your hots out, keeping your regrowth hot on as many people as you can. Okay. I have no cooldowns for this, so I'm going to have to do it kind of on my own. That mage almost ate it, so that was a little scary. In terms of targeting, I spend the majority of my time healing, but I keep an eye on the Conjurer. I think if I were to watch it back, that Conjurer, when I kicked that Fireball, we had no kicks available, so that was a good save on my part. Oftentimes, if a Fireball goes through, it will kill somebody. Okay. The tank had all of his cooldowns up, so I was greedy for this set of tools, and I used Iron Bark on myself. When I start to run dry on like my cooldowns, I will play. I'll start to play with like Life Bloom on myself to make me feel better. Life Bloom and Sun Ward. But it looks like we managed to go through that with only 1 death, and that death was the shaman getting meleeed at the beginning, so there's not really anything we could do about that, and it wasn't on us. So overall, it was pretty clean. We used all of our mana, but that's fine. There's a lot of RP going on before the next boss spawns.
Those who oppose the Emperor will fall at our feet. By the Emperor's will!
So start the boss, put a Life Bloom on your tank, get all your cat dots out, bait the hammers. This is all pretty normal stuff. Normally, after I get into position, after the hammers, I will reapply Life Blooms, I'll drop another F-Low. Looks like I'm pre-applying my hots here. Should drop an Efflorescence, but that's more important when you have the 5. So our team decided to nuke us, which I wasn't expecting, but that's okay because at least in an 18, popping all 3 at the same time isn't going to kill us. This fight is it's very simple and it's very cyclical. So cat dots, apply some hots, drop an F-Low. When I get the Castigator shield, if I have it up, I'll use my roar. I oftentimes like to trinket the first one, the first set of 5. My normal like cooldown rotation is almost always trinket, convoke, trank. But that being said, I saw that we had the AMZ that went down, so I decided to convoke rather than trinket, just because it has the shorter cooldown. Again, we're getting blown up, but we're alright. Should be applying our dots.
The flame empowers me. Glory guides my hammer.
Moving them along. Yep, new E-Flow. I should probably not send my Wild Growth so early. Yep, so there is the trinket. I have Convoke if I need it to. We'll have to see how it looks. Yeah, I think we're pretty safe. the tank there popped it with Divine Shield, and he was taking a good look at the team health. He was making sure we were healthy before he blew us up.
Glory guides my hammer!
So that was really nice of him.
Flame cleanse you!
Yep, so there comes the healing rotation. Not bad. I tried to swift mend the shaman with no hots on him.
The flame empowers me! Glory guides my hammer! Flame cleanse you!
Comes the next set of 5.
Shielded by flame
So this is another time where you want to look at the boss's health. He's almost dead, so I wanted to try to do whatever I could to not send anything. We have another paladin pack coming up here. So this is a paladin with two paladins with 2 priests. The thing to know about this pack is the first set of tolls come out really fast, one after another, and then they're kind of staggered. So using being aggressive with like your defenses and your healing cooldowns a little bit early is not a bad idea. So here I Barkskin and I Lumathar. So it looks like we're pretty healthy after that. Next one comes out. Now they're going to be staggered by about like 3 or 4 seconds, so you have a little bit more time. So just being mindful to help kick. You do have the ability to push if you need. I think in this dungeon I was running my Ursuls and my Typhoon. Cool, Nature Swiftness into Convoke, good. I've talked about this in my other videos, but when you Nature Swiftness prior to Convoke, you gain the direct healing bonus of your regrowth, which I think is like 200% or something like that. The trade-off is that you don't get any, it doesn't consume clear casting procs, so you don't put out any symbiotic growths, which is, you know, that's a decision that you have to make, but in a Mythic Plus environment, I almost always Swiftman prior, or sorry, Nature Swiftness prior. So now I think we pull a paladin, sorry, 2 paladins, a mage, and one of the purifier things, like the light spawn dudes. So I keep an eye on the mage. I try to get my kick on cooldown as soon as possible. Heal the target. So for us, if we get the purification, remember that we want to Shadow Meld it first, and then Barkskin it second. First set of tolls come out. Looks like we're going to Trinket. We already had our Barkskin out, so that was good. It was all we needed. So for the next set of tolls, should we need to, I think we're going to do the Nature Swiftness Convoke. Convoked a little early, but I think that was totally fine. It's just like a split second. The other thing that's nice about Nature Swiftnessing into a Convoke is that it gives you the option to cancel the channel into a direct targeted heal for big healing if you really need to. I got stuck on the candle there, that was bad. It looks like the Paladin got healed up in the light spawn puddle, so that's unfortunate. It just means we have a little bit of extra healing that we have to do in this pack. That could be tricky with the purification. Yeah, see right there, the Death Knight was in a tough spot, but Death Knights are invincible, so he lived it. This is an interesting AMZ right there. I don't know the route or how long we're gonna have before we pull Braunpike, but that's important to have. Like, Braunpike hurts. He does a lot of damage to the group. So I think we might have it up before then, but we'll have to see. Again, Braunpike is highly variable as to like how we manage to heal him, but I like to open with a Convoke. Okay, so I don't have my Shadow Meld, so I have to bark, which is good. Okay, we had our first set of tools come out. I'm gonna have another purification. If it's on me, I can Shadow Meld. Yeah, okay, so one note about Shadow Melding it is make sure that the cast time stops and the channel begins before you Shadow Meld. Otherwise, what'll happen is he'll pick a new target to cast it on, which in this pack in particular is really, really unfortunate to do because it'll cause a overlap where the purification's going out when the tools are going out. So I think I might try and sneak a drink in, but let's see what we're doing. I don't know if I'm gonna have time or if he's gonna let me. Yeah, I can see I'm spamming on my food. I want some mana, but no mana for you today. So this is same thing, you know, the light spawn mage. So get your kick. You know, 2 kicks. I don't know if the DPS said who's getting what. I just kind of throw mine on cooldown when I can. Between the 3 DPS and the Paladin, we should have plenty of kicks. I'm gonna send my Iron Bark on myself, probably, yeah. You really just need to do whatever you can to live. So that was a good kick on my end. It looked like all of our kicks were down for that fireball volley. So that would have been really unfortunate because 1, it would have gone off, and then 2, it would have full healed the mage when he was in the light spawn puddle. I was able to kick him out of it, but also if I wanted to, I had things like my Typhoon I could have used. So I had a lot of tools that I could have used to save that. Again, I want to get some drinks in, but I can't, so you pull Brawn Pike in the ads. So, like I said, open with Convoke, and then it's just going to be spamming your regrowth triage heals. Keep your wild growth on cooldown, put your Trents on cooldown, rotate your hots. Alright, looks like my life blooms are going. Put my life bloom on myself to help me feel nice. Don't forget that you have your renewal. Yeah, looks like I used that. Next up is going to be Trank if I need it, but I'm probably going to wait until we're feeling a little bit hurt. Sometimes I will use my Tranquility, like in part for the heal, but mostly for the cooldown reduction if I know that I'm gonna want to Convoke and I don't have a need to use Tranquility in the next like couple minutes.
No Arathi leaves the Emperor's service, even in
Cool, I finally get to drink. When I'm far behind like that, I'll use my Tiger's Dash as a way to just catch up. It brings you up pretty quick. So we're going into the boss, and it does look like we dragged some trash in here with a Priest, so I'm going to want to be mindful of that as a interrupt target. So these overlaps, or like the blinding light, it hurts quite a bit. So I try to make a point to to bear form as many of them as I can.
burn by Sacred Flame.
When she's doing her sort of pulsing AoE damage before a blinding light, you want to send a cooldown to try and keep the group healthy.
Burn by Sacred Flame.
Like, you do really need to respect the boss.
Flames take you.
We're just kind of healing up the pulsing damage. The footmen are dying, so we have to deal with that type of damage. Yeah, see, I'm just sending a Convoke to try and keep the group a little bit as healthy as possible. I probably would have been okay sending that second or two later to get more on the back end rather than the front end, because the group was pretty healthy, but I didn't really think about that at the time.
Burn by sacred flame!
4, 3, 2, 1.
By blaze be purified! Brothers and sisters,
Okay.
hearken to the
Shout to help your team. Your stampeding roar. I should be reapplying my hots now. Yeah, I'm a little bit late, but that's okay. I'm gonna put myself behind because I'm doing sort of extra stuff right now. I'm gonna send my trank, I think. Yeah. I'm about a foot behind the AMZ, so that would have been nice for myself, but we're alright. Get some hots out on the group. Get in, spread my dots. I think I noticed that we got ads, so I'm running away.
by blaze be purified!
Trying not to get melee by them. They have no aggro table.
4, 3,
So here comes the overlap, so defensive.
Flames take you!
Yeah. So I can see right there I burned 2 charges in Nature Swiftness and my Swift Mend, but that's okay. And then for the next one I'm gonna have Convoke, so I'm in a pretty good spot.
By blaze be purified!
Timer's really tight.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Flames take you!
That was a little scary. I do need to be a little bit better in terms of keeping all of my dots on.
By blaze be purified!
You know, that's a running theme throughout the entire run, is do better at DPS, but that's something that comes with time.
Burn by sacred flame!
Alright, and with that, ooh, look at that, how many seconds? 6 seconds left, so with that we timed the key. We only had 1 death, so it was a pretty near perfect run. So you can see here my healing breakdown.
These zealots no longer steer our faith towards destruction.
And I think I flashed my talents. Let's see. Yeah. So you can see here my talent build. This is what I run. I run Cenarian Ward, cooldown reduction with Tranquility, cooldown reduction on Swift Men, 2 charges of Nature Swiftness, and a cooldown reduction on Nature Swiftness. One of the things I've been thinking about is dropping the hot that you get on your Swift Mend if I need it for bigger keys for either extra defensive stuff, or I could pick up the extra DPS from the Heart of the Wild buff, or Call of the Elder Druid, whatever it's called. Notable, I do only run the single rejuvenation build. So that was the key. I thought I learned a lot out of it. Hopefully you guys did too. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Other than that, I'll be seeing you guys in midnight for more key reviews like this. I'm going to try and do them earlier in the season, like as I start timing my 10s week 1 and going forward, just so I can kind of document my progression and stuff like that. But if you have any questions, leave it in the comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Alright, thank you.